Ballerina from the world of John Wick. Ballerina is an American action thriller film and the fifth film in the John Wick franchise, serving as a spin-off set between the events of John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum and John Wick Chapter 4, aka maybe the best action film of all time. This one is directed by Len Wiseman, who did The Underworlds, Live Free and Die Hard, and Total Recall. I was a little nervous when the film first started. I was like, I don't know how special this is going to be. I don't know if this action scenes are going to be what I want them to be. Is Ballerina poppin' or is it not? It is poppin', Shouty. Thank you, Bucky. It is poppin'. Poppin'. So, at first, the film was lackluster with plots we've seen before, not only in other John Wick films, but it had too much seriousness in Ana de Armas's Eve and her upbringing. Her father's life was taken by a disliked group of the Assassin Corporation that we know from the John Wick universe and the Continental universe. Their methods are illegal even by the high table standards. So she grows up in the Russian ballerina program that we were introduced in Parabellum, and she's trained how protection is more important than killing, even though they do a time jump where she is now killing more peeps than protecting. I don't recall how long the time jump actually is, but I believe it's within a couple months to a couple years. This is where her badassery begins and the film picks up the pace. Action-wise, the film started off a little uninteresting, definitely a bit uneven, and not very comedic. The thing about the John Wick franchise is they are ridiculous storylines that just build up crazier and crazier, and they kind of like make fun of themselves a little bit. The miniseries, The Continental, has comedy in it, but they don't really make fun of themselves enough. This is the most serious of the John Wick films. Definitely at first, but then things kind of pick up. When it comes to the main plot, it stays serious, but when it comes to the action, that's where they go, oh yeah, this is a comedic action film. I wouldn't call this film a comedic action film, but there are action scenes that make you laugh out loud because of how violent and fucking crazy they are. I read that the film was pushed a year of release because they brought Chad Stahelski, I'm probably mispronouncing that. That is the director and real-life stunt performer that worked on and directed John Wick 1, 2, 3, and 4. They brought him on board to direct reshoots of this film, including more action scenes. That is very prevalent. That is extremely prevalent because the beginning of this movie is very, very generic. And then right when that time jump happens, everything is cranked up very well, I might add. It's very well done for the last second and third acts of the film. It was sort of the opposite of Fantastic Four by Josh Trank, that had Miles Teller and Michael B. Jordan, Kate Mara, Jamie Bell. Josh Trank, the director, revealed to the public that he was kicked off of the film and sort of removed directly before the second act of the film begins. Even the first act of Fantastic Four wasn't very great, but it does get dramatically messier when that second act begins. And it happens at a time jump. This movie, in this case, is where the film features dope shit. And their ultimate ingredient, her novice education and ass kickery. Let me explain with one other example. You saw Matt Reeves's The Batman starring Robert Pattinson. The audience sees our protagonist, Batman, the Batman that is, when yes, he's been established and Gotham City knows who he is. And yes, he's a badass, but he's starting out so far in the beginning. He's starting out so much that he crashes into a bus when he first jumps out and flies off of a building. Motherfucker can barely fly, but we still love it so much because we're watching an imperfect badass learn how to become the Gotham Knight that we all love. The Dark Knight that we all love. When we are introduced to John Wick, watching the John Wick movies, he is an established boogeyman that you call to kill the boogeyman himself. Whereas Eve is newer and gets her ass kicked a lot. John Wick, we barely see his ass get kicked. And I had mentioned last week that one thing I'll be judging on this film are fight scenes with not just the big bad bosses that she's going to come across, like the second goon or the main villain, but regular goons. Because if there's one thing about the John Wick films, when he's fighting, people will run out and like, or he has a gun, he's pointing it in this direction, and the guys go, and it's like, okay, this looks cool, but these people are like dumb pawns. What's going on? But the films progress and they get more difficult because they notice. Ballerina, everyone that she fights is difficult for her because she's more of a novice badass. I enjoyed that they don't treat Ana de Armas nicely because she's a woman. If anything, she's more badass than John because she actually kicks ass whilst getting her ass kicked. Like, there's a lot of times you're like, oh, fuck, that looked like it hurt. And that's like every 5 seconds. The main plot is the film's biggest weakness, but Ana and the action make this ride quite enjoyable. The most badass scenes included grenades and flamethrowers. Seriously, really cool flamethrower scene. Probably the best flamethrower scene I've ever seen. And you know what? I'll even double down with the best grenade scene I've ever seen. I'm excited to see how much more creative the John Wick universe will be from here on out. And I give the film a medium with butter, but like a lot of butter. I kind of want to give it a large. It's somewhere between a large with no butter and a medium with butter. Go check out the film. You don't need to see it in theaters. It is an action movie, so theaters would be dope, but I wasn't like, wow, I'm so glad I'm in a movie theater. You can really wait for streaming. Be the judge for yourself. Either go see it in theaters or wait for it in streaming.